Hey, many blessings. Kiriaki here, welcoming you to She's All Over the Place. It's a special episode. I am doing a check-in from starting the mental health, or not the mental health, from starting the Women Empowerment series, exploring divine femininity in all genders. I have really grown a lot. I've been deeply reflecting through the beautiful conversations I've had with beautiful humans on the show. You know, why I was reflecting of why I first started this series and honoring this space. And I just felt like, wow, look how many episodes we have rocking and rolling. I thought I would just do a check-in, and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. We kicked off Mental Health Awareness Month with Sheila Darcey. She has an epic episode in the series, so definitely check out Sketchpoetic, her amazing story. And like I said, she kicked off Mental Health Awareness Month in Twitter Spaces last Sunday with a collective of people in the space who are advocates for mental health. I signed up on the schedule to co-host a few events with some new like-minded individuals that Sheila's curating. So I'm super proud to call her my friend. And the people I met this past weekend, I'm actually going to have a few of those bright-spirited beings on the show upcoming. So I'm really excited to share those juicy episodes with you. Yeah, so diving right in, Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm feeling a lot of things. So let's see what comes up and out. So I guess first and foremost, I have my monthly drop with Hey Lair that was curated at the end of December 2021. And so for January, February, March, April, boom, May, my 5th collection with Hey Lair for the month of May is a mental health series. It's a series of selfies that I took, and I selected 11. And they're in chronological order of what I was going and growing through at the time when I was in partnership with a specific individual, myself, and another human being who I don't blame and shame. It was just a mirror reflection that was teaching me so much. And this person had so much strength, has so much strength, that I felt very safe to go on this journey with them. And we'll continue on through our journeys and not shame and blame one another and honor each other. And I feel that's how relationship should be, no matter if it's platonic or, with art in the workplace, this and that. So, we react in such a way because of generational trauma from what we were taught, from what we were told. And so I can speak firsthand of how I behaved and reacted in that situation, in that partnership, because at times I felt very isolated and very alone and very stuck. And I've felt those feelings not being in a relationship as well, but being in a relationship, the other human really holds up a mirror, and it's quite the blessing. And Tony Robbins, love Tony Robbins and his voice. Oh my gosh, he has such a powerful voice. He has a documentary on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, definitely check him out. And I think it's Something Guru, but Tony Robbins, and then he has a bunch of YouTubes. He's like the ultimate life coach. But I remember when I was watching it and he was sharing the story about the adversities of growing up and his mother, he was, first blaming and shaming like F you, and he was totally taking responsibility as a sovereign being, saying when we want to say F you to someone, instead of F you, it's thank you. So even though it's a practice, I know when I'm triggered inside, when I have that intuitive hit and it's triggering and irritating and I get this rise, no matter who it is or what it is, it may be FU that comes up for me broadly, but really it's an opportunity to self-reflect and hold space and take a deep breath and just be aware of that. And I've been able to do that on my journey thus far over and over again. And I really realize as I'm reflecting now, because I'm visiting my mom and dad in Michigan, how on a neurological level I formed as a child and as a teenager these responses and these superstitions and these responses that I would do and play these like mind games with myself, like 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 jump. Or I mean, I would do it all the time. I don't know if any of you count, but it's like a thing, right? Counting, attachment styles. Those are amazing books to look up on Overdrive. You can download up to 30 audiobooks per month for free on Overdrive. You just type in your public library code to log in. It's an app. If you don't have one, it takes 30 seconds to get a library card in your local area. That's how it works in America. So for everyone international, I'm not sure if you can use the overdrive or not, but I'm sure there's something. Just tune in with your public library. And I feel like it's so amazing how education is free, as I feel it should be. So with that being said, circling in and around, Tony Robbins and saying F you and then saying thank you. So my baseline, although irritated, I use it as a practice over and over again. And I lean in and befriend myself. So instead of being mad at myself like I have before, irritated, treating myself so harshly, so abrasively, I take a deep breath. I maybe take a break from electronics. I maybe just sit for, sometimes I'll set a timer for 21 minutes, 22 minutes, and I'll set a timer and just breathe. And then all of a sudden, 5, 10, 15 minutes later, that pressure isn't there. And I'm just deep breathing with my eyes open or closed or whatever. And sometimes I don't even use a timer. I just get away from electronics, leave my phone, go downstairs or go somewhere and just sit and just start breathing. And I just sit there and I let the thoughts and the clouds, pass by, come and go. And today I did that. And my dad's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I was all over the place. I didn't say that, but literally that's how I was feeling. And I just had a lot of loose parts all around. So I was able to connect with my assistant this morning and, lay the groundwork of hard stops, curations, collaborations that needed to be done. And, that was from morning until around 4 o'clock. And I'm feeling really good, sewn, put together, on the right track with, the groundwork that needed to be done. Then I was able to take some time out to do what I just mentioned because I had a couple voiceovers that I needed and wanted to record, but I couldn't go into doing the voiceovers without having a clearing in nature, or go for a drive, or call someone, or just kind of just sit with myself. So as I was sitting with myself, it took a while. I was very intense and focused, and it took a while, 10 or 15 minutes. And then I started to feel some ease and some vulnerability came up, some sadness was coming up, and I was just feeling really deeply sad. And the details aren't important, but I'm just going to give you brushstrokes of a situation. So after, releasing from this toxic relationship and these behavioral patterns that I chose to go through and, this and that, I've been pretty diligent about the red flags and pivoting, focusing my attention for peace, for clarity. If it's going to upset me or make me mad, say no or choose not to do it. And I'm on a flying high with curations and collaborations in the NFT space. And, I've been a part of eight exhibitions in the last 12 weeks, and I'm a part of a couple more, 3 more that maybe we'll get into shortly here, which I'm really proud of and excited. So I definitely want to give a shout out around those. But so all these things are going good. And so it's been a while since I've had this bump in the road of feeling what I'm about to share with you. This tightness, anxiousness in my chest. My heart was hurting from this anxiousness that came up, and it was a unfortunate situation outside of my control. And I was reflecting what happened and how I could have did better, and the communication that I had with another human being and from what they told me. And then things change as they do. And then I also took responsibility that I knew something was happening, and I could have taken action a week prior, which would have had the solution to this specific topic. That doesn't even matter. Right? It's just about the lessons of the reflections here and taking responsibility and just the awarenesses and the practices to do better. So I was befriending myself and I was feeling this way. I was starting to get some of that paralyzed feeling that I haven't felt in a long time. And I was getting that isolation feeling. And I was also reflecting wow, I haven't felt this in a while, a long time. I've moved from this. But I used to perpetuate and be in this a lot of times and still operate with a smiley face and still operate with the public persona that everything was okay and always being strong and always being tough and always pouring out no matter what as a choice to pour out positivity, because that trumps anything else. So with all that being said, I was able to, I really honor myself, and this is a bump in the road, but I've come a long way from feeling this. A lot of people are still in this position. It's why I'm utilizing my voice in such ways to, connect with people and to remember, to always remember, because a lot of people are so disconnected from certain things because they haven't grown through the experiences, looked at their own inner child or inner triggers, or just have some blessings, and just can't identify in certain ways. And that's okay. We're not shaming and blaming. But, going up so high, the only place to go is to a baseline, right? We don't have to go so low. And so I caught myself at a baseline and didn't abandon myself, and chose along the way to not abandon myself and never to lose myself again, because I chose to allow self to lose myself at one point. And then I saw the repetition of me abandoning myself, abandoning my artist. And that was in that vicious cycle. And I didn't know I was doing it until I became so distant from it more and more that I started to shape shift and see the patterns. And it was a practice and a support of friendships and people I could talk to, and therapy and my partner and friends, and developing those relationships, that those sacred bonds and the intimacies. With that being said, not only was I going through a hardship, but I was reflecting and honoring the space in between, how far I've come, where people are still at, that I could easily go there and make the choice that I used to make, but I'm not that person anymore. And so I'm really proud of, how I was responding and handling it. I'm really in the moment of just breathing, because I did what I could with communication with other parties involved. And there were, multiple parties involved, but I did what I could. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to take a break and I'm going to take a hot shower. It was, rainy, cold, wasn't okay to go for a run, but that could have been a good thing for someone to go for a run. I did some stretching, so that was good. Just kind of stretch my body out. And then, and then after the hot shower, I checked at the communication, how nature takes its course. This too shall pass. To just see the evolution of nature and how things shaped and took its form. And I was being very patient, very diligent. And then I was putting beauty products on. I was just doing things for self-care to feel good. And so I was doing those things, and I got to a state of communication where then it was okay, time to go to bed. Nothing's going to be done until business hours in the morning, until nature takes its course to the next day. So then it was I said, it was really difficult for me to sleep. But I was able to do that. And one of the things I did when I was sleeping that was really awesome was, instead of what was going on in my mind and all the expectations and things I had going on, I allowed myself to shape shift and to create a space of manifestation, of happiness, which is sometimes hard for me to do. To think about a thing and then this one thing, because I think I've already done that. But I allowed myself to do it in a new way, not in the way I knew, but in a different way. And I was able to think of two people that I maybe had a crush on. And I was able to think of traveling somewhere and going somewhere, or coconuts and palm trees and being in Hawaii, or being somewhere where I could be in the sun and honoring myself, I'm gonna take a trip soon. It's been a while since I've just enjoyed the sun for a few days and just was on an island. And it really shifted me into a positive area, and I was feeling my body, and I could feel the energetic subtle shifts and how it took me away from the worry. Although after a while I realized I was back in that worry state, but then I was able to nip it in the bud when I figured out I was there, to pivot and shift my attention to another place. And then eventually, thank goodness, I was able to go to sleep, and I woke up naturally, and I was able to handle it in such a way. And it all sorted itself out. But the way I communicated with a specific person, the way I communicated with some other people, the way they communicated with me, and the whole interaction, I felt really accomplished and really proud, and just want to pat myself right now on the back, because, I have come a long way, and it takes work. And so I encourage you listening. Thank you for listening and being here. I honor you. And if you're tuning in, I know you're interested and you're going through the journey as I am, as we all are, whether we know it or not. So it's kind of my story. Hopefully you picked up some nuggets within those realms. I honestly feel really full in my heart because, when grand opportunities come, it's grand responsibility in many ways. For humanity, for the planet, for financial freedom. And I feel the universe only gifts us what we really truly can receive and what we're able to handle in such a way. And I feel like there's some core thing that was put together, and I'm trying to explain it the best way, but I feel like there was something put together within me where it's like, yes, I told God and the universe, and they communed with me in such a way that I feel like I'm ready for this beautiful responsibility that I always knew that was coming my way. And I'm going to be able to delegate and handle it with such care and such grace. So I'm really honored and really grateful. And I know it's a big responsibility. So thank you for being here. I'm getting vulnerable. So it's very new news, but we have held the top 5% for season 2 and season 3 globally for She's All Over the Place podcast. And as of a couple weeks ago, we're 1.5 globally out of all podcasts internationally. So I'm very, very proud. Thank you for tuning in and being here on this journey and just taking it all in, even if it's just for you. And if you just click and share on social media and like and subscribe and, share with one friend or one person. We are so stuck, and I'm roaring even more. And I just even want to roar more. So, to utilize my voice and shape shift as healthy communicators. And I remember how I felt my voice at SAG-AFTRA at the union, my Actors Guild. I'm like, oh, Screen Actors Guild, Meryl Streep, Reese Witherspoon, Johnny Depp, my little voice from Michigan going to the union on Wilshire. And it was so big. And then along the journey for a while, it was such an illusion. And then I realized there's only 300,000 people in the union, maybe less. That's not a lot of people. Okay. And then the percentile of actually who make, there's plan 1 for insurance and plan 2. It's 15% or less, who actually make the plan 1, who are actually, sustainable and making a living. And that's even less of a pool. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started going to more events at the union and just empowering others. And then, through the vessel of vulnerability in my voice, and then, realizing what I'm sharing with you. So your voice, you listening, it matters. 1,000%, it matters. And the people who have told you to silence, to shut up, to not say anything, to cover up, to hide from them, discard them. Love them from a distance. Love them. Do not blame, do not shame, do not lash out at them. It's just going to be toxic and not give you what you want. People treat us how we allow them to treat us. People who treat us in a certain way treat themselves that way. I do not want to be treated that way. No way. I cannot be treated that way by another human being because I've treated myself that way ignorantly over and over again. And I just can't do it. I don't have that fight in me. I have fight in me, but I don't have fight in me for the abuse. It's just too saddening. It's very, very saddening. So silence no more. And, no blaming and shaming, but I grew up not saying this, don't say this. And there's certain boundaries and etiquettes of class and reputation that one wants to uphold, of course, not only in a workplace, in family and in friendship, But when it comes to toxic behavior, it's removing yourself from it. If we're not going to, be the saving grace and the Jane Goodalls of the world and, taking a stand and a declaration, at the very minimum, just move out of it. And sometimes it's not very easy just to remove ourselves because we get paralyzed and stuck. Our prefrontal cortex, our forebrain, literally shuts down and goes into fight and flight response. So a lot of people in the world are running on fight and flight in survival mode. And I know what it's like. It's perpetuating, and it's a place where we get stuck and we shape shift, and we're there over and over again. Caroline Myss, MYSS, she's a mystic intuitive. She has a TED Talk on choices. She has over 10 audiobooks on Overdrive. It's her voice. It's her angelic voice speaking. It's so therapeutic. It's so healing. Start messy. Start one step at a time. And if you're here listening to the podcast, you're already doing the work. You're already taking the baby steps or the massive steps. It's okay to take the baby steps. There are some people, though, you can tell them over and over, you can gift them Gaia. You can gift them eye patches and eye creams. You can gift them things, a nutrition plan. You can gift them certain educational audiobooks and tools, like Clean by Alejandro Junger, about quantum detoxification. Not only physical detoxification within your body, like we are what we eat, the toxicity of the foods, the processed foods, and all that junk. And then the environmental toxins. And Kelly from Ecos, she was on season 3 of the podcast on, the cleaning products and the laundry detergents and even dog products, pets, products for the pets. So, there's the environmental toxins. Then there's not only our environmental toxins of products, but the environmental toxins of what's in our fabrics and who is in our environment, our workplace and in our environment. And if you're walking down the street in a big city, there's people screaming and they have no clarification about who they are and what they're spewing out, and people are just blahing onto each other. And it's a social responsibility to share. Sound, it starts with the word, the sound, the vibration, who we listen to, who are we listening to? I do not own a TV. I do not watch cable. I stream TV shows, animation series, movies, things of that nature. I binge it. I watch it. I've always been that way. I'm very specific about what I watch, who I listen to, and who I attune to. And Caroline Myss has this hack where sometimes you're talking to a sibling or you're talking to someone and you think you just have to listen to them, but you can't wait for them to shut up. And you're just shaking your head yes, shaking your head yes. Caroline Myss says not to do that. You're energetically aligning and vibrating yes, yes, yes. And you're aligning that to your vibration when you don't want to. So do not say yes and nod your head yes. You're egging these people on just to keep going and going. Excuse yourself. Go to the bathroom. Break up the energy. Like if you're on the phone, be like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, or I have to take this call, or oh, I have to call you back. The energy will pass and they will go on to someone else. If you're giving someone 100% of your time in a certain situation in real life or on the phone, and you're like, yo, I want to be there for this person, but I'm like, I can't overflow myself and I can't be there as much as I can, then take the reins, pull it in. If you're talking to them for an hour, talk to them for 45 minutes. The next week, talk to them 40 minutes. The week after, talk to them for 35 minutes. They will allot that energy somewhere else, and you can allot your energy and restore it back for your core values of who you are and who you want to discover, of who you want to be. Okay? But we can't let these people know, hey, I can't talk to you anymore for an hour because it's wasting my time and I need to be doing this, like organizing my next poetry book. No. People will feel rejected. You'll feel rejected. You'll feel guilty afterwards. And we don't want that shame and blame and that guilt. We feel that guilt because we're not being authentic to ourselves. We're being inauthentic to others, and we're being inauthentic to ourselves. So you're actually helping the person by, if you're talking to them for an hour and then only talking to them for a half hour and you're giving them their time and attention back, they can be reciprocated and talk to someone who actually wants to talk with them, or let them deal with their own stuff. And then you can be focusing on yourself and talking to who you want to talk to. Like I may want to talk to someone for 15 minutes and I'm like, but I talked to him for 30, but it's too much. And you can take that principle and apply it to however it's working out for you in your life. And it can be baby steps, and you can do it by a couple minutes or, 5 minutes, 10 minutes increments, and shapeshift that energy, So we can only focus on one thing at a time. And, circling back around for Mental Health Awareness Month, it's something that I advocate every single day. I feel so empowered because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the collective of friends I've met, in Web3 and holding spaces on Twitter Spaces. So definitely follow me, KChonacas, if you're on Twitter. If you don't know what Twitter Spaces is, check it out. It's the 4 dots in the center. You can press it and just agree. And then you can start holding your own rooms, and the people you follow, you can be in their rooms, and you can do a search if you want to look for more podcasts or mental health or art or whatever you may be interested in. But Web3 and NFTs, it's all happening on Twitter Spaces. Clubhouse still, yes, and definitely all in on Twitter Spaces. So that's where I like to be and, support other people. So circling back around to my 5th collaboration with Hey Lair, it's on Stacks, STX ecosystem, STX. It's built on Bitcoin. So it's really awesome and exciting. And I selected 11 pieces and they're in chronological order. And I'm just going to gift information and be vulnerable of stuff that I would never post on Instagram, that I would never post on TikTok. Chonacas is my handle if you want to follow me. But I'm going to put it on the blockchain and I'm taking a risk and I'm putting myself out there and I'm doing it and I'm going to do it in that kind of massive way. And it's going to demystify and have less power over me. And it's going to expose me in such a way where this is who I am. And this is what's going on. And this is what I've grown through. Like I said, I'm not blaming or shaming, but I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not hiding people manipulating me. I'm not hiding being manipulated. I'm not hiding mental abuse. I'm not hiding shaming and blaming. I'm not hiding any of that. I do not stand for it. And I've asserted myself. And a couple people, not a lot, who've said certain things to me. Immediately, I haven't said a lot. This is probably the most I've ever said. But I'll just say simply to them without going in depth because they're definitely not in a space to be able to, have a healthy, communicative conversation. I'll say, no, I don't align with that. Or I'm an adult. I'll say what I want to say. Or no, actually, that's unjust. And actually, it's not okay to hide something like that. It's not okay to let this secretive behavior continue. It's not okay. It's not healthy. I don't stand for it. And that's it. Period. I don't have to explain myself. I don't need validation from them. I don't need validation from anyone except me. If I want, I can validate myself. And if I tune in with myself, even if I don't know what that is, and I start messy and I tune in with myself and I validate myself, I can start there. Period. So I'm really excited. Check out heylair.com. Check out the 11 NFTs. On the blockchain. It'll be dropping on May 5th, which I'm really excited about. Shout out to Blue Moon. Blue Moon is iconic. She just had her birthday. Happy birthday. Love you. She curated One Drop. She hosted me in a Twitter Spaces, and then she invited me to be a part of her collaboration. And I think there's 52 NFT artists. And I think there's over 60 NFTs. And it's actually dropping this week, which I'm really excited about. And it's all about, one drop and period poverty. And more than half of the proceeds, I think 80% of the proceeds are going to period poverty. So, families and children who don't have the funds and the resources for simple things like tampons, simple things like clean hygiene, so which causes a bunch of infections, which can cause death, which can cause into the space of, someone not being able to produce a child in the near future. So, and then for every NFT sold, it's going to, there's going to be one tree planted for sustainability for each NFT. So that's very awesome and it aligns to my ethos. And also, it's going to be, the One Drop collection is going to be premiering at NFT Berlin. Shout out to Berlin. We honor you. Thank you so much. Blue Moon will be there IRL. And definitely we're going to have Blue Moon on the podcast and we're going to be talking about the One Drop collaboration, curation. We can go into more details. I have 2 NFTs. One is a poetry piece that I wrote called One Drop at a time. And then another one is a short film that I've wanted to produce and direct for a couple years now, and it's from a real life experience when I was living with my girlfriend Jules at 55th and 8th before I got my own condo in New York City. It's a short, and I produced it and directed it. Jules is a star. She is a star. She's a classic beauty with so much class and morals and such a great person, and she's in it for the craft. She's a great, great actor. And so I wanted to onboard her and pivot and shift for her to be a part of Web3 and NFTs. So she doesn't even know the exciting news yet. So I have to definitely let her know immediately. She is part of this amazing curation collaboration with all these empowering artists, and it'll be exhibited in Berlin. So this coming month. So shout out to Blue Moon and One Drop and all the NFT artists. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Saba, I just saw his piece today. He's a part of the curation. It's so delicate and graceful. Definitely check out the piece. Transitioning into many blessings for the Judd family. I was just informed that Naomi Judd passed away from a mental health disease. And it was like the day before she was going to be inducted into, I think, the Hall of Fame, Music Hall of Fame. And I had no idea, but she's the mother of Ashley Judd, the actor. And it's wild how we can see brushstrokes of people on TV and not understand what's going on personally for people, how there's so much suffering. So you're not alone. A lot of people are suffering, and I'm so happy in 2022 more people like myself are communicating about it, because I grew up silent and protecting and being quiet and feeling alone and feeling like our family was the only one, and just very, very isolated, and it was very, very confusing, very, very, very confusing about what to say, what not to say. And, I'm going to share a little bit about my story. And if you get to know me, you'll probably hear it over and over again and more. And I'm not sure if this is my first time sharing, but here we go. So when I was growing up, I was turned on to cross-country running, thank God, because of my father. And I remember, physical health, and we would eat pasta the day before for the carbohydrates, drink a lot of water. I was drinking 1 gallon of water a day. I was running 50 miles per week, thank God. Thank goodness gracious for sports. That's why it's so important to be acting, to be active, especially as a child, but even now, any age, it's so important to be active because, firing and wiring those neurotransmitters and the blood flow to the brain, the oxygen. So by me being a child running cross country, 20 to 50 miles per week, I was able to detach from the drama and the isolation and the words and the vibration where a lot of people get stuck going around and round and round and round in circles. And I was able to literally breathe in the freshest air and exhale through my lungs, through my organs, and get massages twice a week. Being a cross-country runner, we'd have meets twice a week. So I would take my funds when everyone else was like, spending money on whatever, or like drinking or cigarettes, underage. I would be going to these like student clinics in Southfield, and I would get a massage for $25 plus like a $5 tip. And sometimes I would get like a 2-hour massage for like $50 or $60 or something like that. And I was taking my money as a child and getting ththese massages twice a week because I was running cross country. And thank God for cross country because it cleared my mind. I think it's what got me out, or I think I would have been like, a lot of people and stuck in a lot of ways. So not shaming or blaming or saying I'm any better. I'm just saying it was, it was one of my gifts. It was, I think sports like really saved me in a way. Cross country definitely saved me. My psychology, philosophy of who I am and how I speak is all about short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals that I learned from my dad from cross country running. So that's why I'm really an advocate for sports for all ages, especially, for children. But to circling back around, I was thinking about physical health, what I put into my body, beauty products, brushing my hair, like not wearing makeup and or putting on makeup, and just like cleaning products for my face, and like, not, like putting lotions on and things like that. I was thinking about physical health. When I was thinking health, I was thinking physical health. So what happened was, I remember I was in career decision making class, and like I already know what I want to do. I already knew what I wanted to do, but I'm in this career decision making class. I'm in this like foo whatever class, just to like get me out of here, right? And so I remember walking in, and on the board, I don't know if they still use chalkboards, but they had a chalkboard, and there were the number, like literally 1 through 100, and there were 100 words on the board. And out of the 100, we sat down, and we had 20 pieces of rectangular paper, and out of the 100, we had to pick 20, and out of the 20, we had to put like our number one priority, and my number one priority was health, because I thought I was so clever. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so ahead of this game. I put health as number one, because if I have health as number one, I can have everything below on this 20, and I can have everything on the board. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm very, very clever here, right? And so, but I was thinking physical health. I wasn't thinking mental health. So it was later on when I, obtained this mental health journey and realized like emotional intelligence and things of that nature. And then, so I started like going and growing on this journey and checking in and tuning in with behavioral scientists and Dr. Joe Dispenza, who says we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts and they're negative. And then to fire and wire synapses, and then to unfire and unwire, right? And the patterns and the habits, and Oprah and the 21 day meditation with Deepak, and practicing vibrations in a electromagnetic field kind of way, and Dr. Huberman and Dr. Greg Braden and Paul Chek And that's Czech with CHEK, I believe it is. But they all have podcasts. So they all have YouTubes. They all have audiobooks. They all have books. You can read their books. You can listen to their podcasts. You can watch them on the YouTube. Gabor Mate, Mate. Well, he grew up with ADHD and he has such trauma and magnificent stories. And he has the wisdom of trauma. I was so inspired and moved. I did a podcast on it called The Wisdom of Trauma that you can check out from season 3. But, I'm saying all this because I soaked in and I listened to it all and I absorbed it all. So I, encourage you to do whatever is called to you. But these are some gems and resources and tools that, took to my heart and through my heart, which gave me the vibration and communication that I'm sharing right now and the confidence. But it's not only understanding it from, an intellectual level in your brain that's just a tool, or just through the sound of your mouth, which is the throat chakra, right? I'm talking about from the gut. I'm talking about from your brain, that's a gut. I'm talking about the intelligence of your body intelligence. You may want to go, but your body might say you need to stay home. It may look good on paper, but your heart's telling you something else. Let's listen to that more. Let's give that more power, right? And stop schlepping ourselves through things we don't want to be a part of, that we don't align to. So tune in. So it's not only digesting and taking in and soaking up all this, it's actually about hacking it and applying it over and over. And then not beating self up when oh my God, I applied it and it didn't go right. No, it's I applied it. I'm gonna get back on the trampoline. I'm gonna keep jumping. Oh, I fell off again. Oh, she fell off again. Oh, she stayed on for 3 minutes. Oh, he stayed on for 1 minute. Oh, fell right away. They got a bruise. Whatever. You know what I mean? Befriend it. Become friends with the inner self. The interpersonal challenge with oneself. The interpersonal game. Befriend it. If this makes any sense at all, I really appreciate if you just leave a comment, show some love, share this episode with some people. I'm so happy to be here in Mental Health Awareness Month and to be living and alive and utilizing my voice in the ways to shapeshift and empower others and myself. I reflect on the episodes thus far, and Jessica Greenwald upcoming. She's amazing. She is the creative VP for Fishfort Cybersecurity Company in Web3, and she's the creative director for Vayner NFT. Gary Vee, a longtime fan of him since 2018 when I saw him at a Worlds event. He was the keynote speaker. It was just, he's just so impactful and inspiring. But, we were just exploring and she came up with something and she's like, oh, I wonder what that was. And I was like, yeah. And we were in the moment exploring stuff. And it was so cool. You'll have to tune into the episode. And then, Sheila Darcey, sketchpoetic, Jimena, their stories from Colombia and the Philippines, and Maria Brito from Venezuela, and just listening to them, just getting so fired up and so passionate in their education and what they went through, on a professional level, personal level, their stories of what their families told them from international cultures, and just identifying and feeling as one with them and just being like, oh my gosh, I feel like we have so many of the same stories. And when you listen over and over, you just feel so closer, and I feel less isolated. I feel more at one with myself. I feel more at one with others, and how a lot of female identifying and non-binary and just, in general, and all genders just, can really relate to one another and, befriend the masculine energy, befriend the divine feminine, and, not shame and blame the masculine energy that some genders have in them, and not blame it on, the cis and male identifying people too, because, everything's just out of balance. They feel used because how certain quote unquote girls are conditioned for Chanel or materialistic items or private jets or, the materialistic, glam fun things that they see on the social media, and, even before social media, of doing things that they like or doing things that they don't like to obtain and have certain things of certain status and certain things to, not to have financial freedom, and to feel, self-confident in such a way, and maybe doing things that they like, or maybe doing things, demoralizing things that they don't like, and it shows up in other ways later on. But, the point is, I was talking to one of my male friends from Israel, and he's a high roller, and he gets the penthouse, and, I've known him for 18 years, almost 19 years now, and I see the type of people that come and go. And it's like, who are you aligning to? And we keep aligning to the same thing, and you want different, but the girls keep staying very young. So you're going to get a certain emotional intelligence from, someone who's stuck in that perpetual thing, but they're stuck. And then they want love. They want it to be reciprocated. They want to have a good relationship with another individual, but where are we aligning? Like, is this person meeting people in yoga classes? Like, where are you meeting these people? And what are you saying in such a way to attract the wrong kind of energy? What we put out is what we're going to get. And we're so psychologically brainwashed, and we don't even know that we're saying things in such a way that's hindering us, that we're getting in our own way. And trust me, because I know, like, I continue to do things where I continue to be in my own way, and it's like stuck to me like my hand, where I just feel like this is the way that it is, until you have communities and groups and listening parties and sessions and in spaces like, podcasting and things of that nature, where we can start to break away from the identity, right? Break away from the ego identity of what we were taught, unlearning that, and just having a new blank canvas and leaving space for that canvas and just leaving it blank so we can just like hold space for something new to arise. Oh my God, speaking of, so I know I kind of went all over the place, but okay, so it just came to me over the weekend. I'm finally releasing my second poetry book. It's on summer solstice on June 21st, first day of summer. I think it's going to be called, it's 4444 right now. Okay, awesome. Alignment with the numbers. I think it's going to be called My Greatest Love, ... so far, right? I was thinking before it was going to be The Naked Truth, and it pivoted to something else because I'm releasing different poems of what I've been growing through in this relationship, but not only a relationship with this person, relationship of love and life with myself, right? And my younger child. So it's not like my greatest love of all time. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know yet, but I'm on the journey. And so I want to share this with you now. And so I'm going to entitle it, I think, My Greatest Love, ... so far, because the journey continues. And I think it may be, I don't know if it's going to be like How a Lover's Fairy Tale was, that's available everywhere, Barnes & Nobles, Walmart, Amazon, I don't know if it's going to be like a Lover's Fairy Tale, 11 poems with pictures, or if I'm going to have pictures and it's going to be like James Franco style and kind of like Diaries of Anne Frank, where it's like maybe some pictures and maybe some graphics, and then maybe it's like diary style, then some poems. So I collected 42 documents, and so some of them are poems. Which poems am I going to leave? Am I going to leave them all or not? And then which diary entries am I going to leave or not leave? And they're all dated, so I'm going to leave them in like chronological order and just kind of give slices of life of like who I am and what I was growing through and things of that nature. So I'm putting it all together now. And like I did with The Lover's Fairy Tale, I set the intention. I put it through me. I had the hard stop for the date. I'm going to use the same book editor as I did before. He did great on the first book, and I want to honor him. He's overseas and, supporting other artists and other people in other countries. It makes me feel really happy to do that. So, okay, so I'm going to tune out right now. Let's take the deepest breath we've taken all day. Let's release it. We inhale purity. We exhale toxicity. Shaman Harry Paul. You can Google him, Shaman Harry Paul. He has a website. I think he teaches a breathwork class in Santa Monica or Hollywood. He's amazing. He taught that to me years ago. And just let's take the deepest breath we've taken all day. Hold it. Just hold it. And then you exhale through the mouth. So lovely. Okay. So it's been such a pleasure. I'm going to get to my voiceovers right now. I have some series regular roles I'm auditioning for some animation projects. So let's have KChonacas become a household name in animation. This is one of my number one goals. I just took new headshots. Shout out to Scott Sprague. If you're in Detroit, Michigan, and you need new headshots, contact Scott Sprague. It's Instagram. It's SSFOTO, and tell him you heard the podcast. She's all over the place, and I'm sure he'll give you a nice, friendly artist discount. Coolio! I'm so excited. My team's so happy. We sectioned them off for commercials, and then we sectioned them off for TV and film. My commercial agency gave them 130 photos. They already responded. They gave me their top 6. They're being retouched right now, lightly retouched just so they pop. Then we put them up on all the actor platforms, and then I have some good news coming up. I'm not going to share with you now, but soon. And then my actor headshots, I sent them to my manager, to my agents, over 400. God bless their hearts. I deleted a couple hundred, but whew, I do have my go-to favorites, but I wanted to give them a plethora because you don't know what they're thinking as agents and as and the casting directors, like how they're seeing and perceiving you, me, how I am. I just very anxious. It was very, very difficult. I get very anxious about it. So, I just wanted to honor and say, I got really anxious. I like the first ones because of the lighting. I care for this one with the necklace. I don't care for this one. But here you go. Have a look and let me know and just kind of breathe and digest and assert myself and not feel bad for it and just let them know, it gave me some anxiousness and things of that nature because it's true. Sometimes as artists and as humans, we're our own worst critics, our hard critics. So I was able to gently communicate that in a way to offset their work, but without, taking too much control and then honoring my team. And so another thing about mental health, I'm just really proud of how I can work with a community and with a team of people and be able to be vulnerable of my strengths and my weaknesses and, them be able to receive that as well and understand. So those are the people you want to be creating and working with, the ones who understand, or if they don't understand, they're willing to listen to understand, or they're willing to straight up tell you want to help you, but I'm not the person, and then maybe guide you to someone or something that could be. So with that being said, thank you for tuning into She's All Over the Place. Check out my merch. She's All Over the Place merch. Definitely pick some up and send me a receipt that you pick something up. I'll give you a shout out on the podcast. Definitely check out my NFT collections on my website, Chonacas.com. Okay, we'll see you next week. Mwah. Love you.